You think you would feel prediabetes? That is the mistake. Most people expect a warning they can recognize. Constant thirst, a dramatic crash. Something obvious enough to force the thought, something is wrong with me. But hidden prediabetes often works the other way. It stays quiet. You keep going to work. You keep eating the way you usually eat. You feel tired sometimes, but that feels normal now. You get sleepy after meals, want sugar later, lose energy, then blame stress, bad sleep, age, or a busy week. And that false sense of normal is exactly what makes this dangerous. Prediabetes is not a movie disease. In simple terms, it means your blood sugar is running higher than it should, and your body is working harder to keep control. Often, the deeper problem is insulin resistance. Your cells stop responding well to insulin, so your body has to push harder to move glucose where it belongs. For a while, that extra effort can hide the problem from you. From the outside, life still looks ordinary. Inside, the strain may already be building. That is why waiting for obvious symptoms is such a bad strategy. A lot of people assume they are safe because they are still functioning. I'm not diabetic. I'm just tired. I just need more coffee. I just need to stop snacking. But metabolic problems do not wait for a dramatic moment. They can build quietly while your routine still feels mostly fine. And sometimes the clues are so weak, they barely feel like clues at all. Maybe your hunger comes back too fast. Maybe your energy feels unstable. Maybe your waist is growing while everything else feels more or less the same. Maybe your labs are drifting in the wrong direction and you have no idea because you never checked. That is the trap. You cannot diagnose this by vibe. You cannot rely on your body to always announce trouble in a way that feels obvious, because the body is very good at covering for a problem until it gets harder to cover. That is when people notice bigger signs and assume the problem just started. But often the quieter phase came first. The phase where blood sugar was already too high to be called normal, just not high enough yet for the word diabetes. The phase where people feel normal enough to postpone the one thing that could actually answer the question: a blood test. Prediabetes is usually identified by lab ranges, not by how convincing your symptoms feel. And this is also where a lot of people make the everyday food mistake. They think the problem is sugar only, so they focus on dessert and ignore the rest of the pattern. Then breakfast becomes a muffin, sweet cereal, toast and jam, a flavored coffee, or juice on an empty stomach. That kind of start can hit fast and fade fast. A smarter first meal is usually one built around protein and fiber, with fewer refined carbs, because carbs eaten with protein, fat, or fiber tend to raise blood sugar more slowly. Think less sugar bomb, more steady meal. Something like oatmeal with nuts and berries, or another breakfast that is actually built to hold you, not spike you and leave you hunting for more food 2 hours later. That does not mean breakfast alone fixes prediabetes. It means hidden prediabetes usually lives inside normal-looking habits, quiet habits, repeated habits, the kind people never question because nothing feels dramatic yet. That is the uncomfortable truth here. Feeling fine does not mean metabolically fine. If you are in a risk group, the smart move is not to wait for your body to scare you. It is to check before the situation gets louder. Doctors use tests like A1C, fasting glucose, and sometimes an oral glucose tolerance test to catch what your day-to-day feelings cannot reliably tell you. Prediabetes is typically defined as an A1C of 5.7 to 6.4%. fasting glucose of 100 to 125, or a 2-hour glucose test of 140 to 199. That matters because prediabetes is not just a label. It is a warning window, a stage where you may still have time to slow the process, stop it, or push it back in the other direction. And that is where a lot of people lose the game. Not because they were reckless, not because they were lazy, but because they trusted the oldest lie in health. If something serious were happening, I would feel it. Maybe. But maybe all you would feel is a little more tired, a little more hungry, a little less steady, and a little too comfortable calling that normal. That is why hidden prediabetes is dangerous. Not because it is loud, because it is quiet enough to be ignored.